Welcome to the Thunderfunking DotaCast. I'm Cranberry Thunderfunk, and I'm pretty excited to bring you a best of 3 between Kaipi and Virtus.Pro in the Corsair Summer 2013 League series. One of those words.
Radiant team pick.
Kaipi recently has been doing pretty well. A lot of it, I would say, has been on the back of arteezy's performance. He's turned out to be quite the solo mid. In a number of games, he's gotten on quite a large variety of heroes as well. Not just on any one pick, but on Shadow Fiend, on... I believe there was an OD in there. Had trouble keeping track of all their games, mostly because I haven't watched them, most of them anyways. I've just seen the results, and they've taken down pretty much all of the Tier 1 teams recently, with the exception of Na'Vi, I do believe. Have to check on that. I know they played Na'Vi today. Would have liked to have seen that result. But at this point, they've taken down EG, they've taken down Alliance, Mouse Sports. There's no one that they haven't been able to
Virtus.Pro's turn to pick.
put up a fight against, which is pretty remarkable given that not a month ago they weren't performing all that well. But it seems they've definitely gotten a little more cohesion, and they've had some time to be as a team together, and that consistency and longevity really seems to make a difference for almost any team. But I imagine being a relatively recent team, none of the players are new, but with the exception of maybe arteezy, he's rather young. I want to say he's 15 or 16.
Virtus.Pro's turn to pick.
So his time in the scene is not that long, but definitely old enough to compete against the best, which he has been doing. Virtus.Pro, they've been doing pretty great as well. I believe... Man, I'm trying to remember the recent results. They took down Mouse Sports somewhat recently, and Mouse Sports has been doing pretty well. So they're definitely still in the Tier 1 category. Looking at the bans, Kaipi bans out the OD right off the bat, which that's definitely a Virtus.Pro specific ban. Illidan has proven to be really deadly on OD, and Virtus.Pro will often mix up their lanes. They'll put illidan mid when he goes OD, because OD is ought to be a mid hero. It just doesn't need the safety of the safe lane to get his farm because he's such a dominant laner. But because illidan is probably by far the best on his team with OD, they opt to switch up their lanes, which is an adjustment that I really like to see. Valuing the strength of their player performances on an individual hero rather than trying to force them to stick to their normal roles. And Virtus.Pro in general are fairly fluid in how the individual players fit into their roles. Ars-art and NS, the supports usually, but sometimes they'll shift into that semi-carry role. And an interesting Spirit Breaker pickup in the first round for Kaipi. Huh. Now, I heard that Kaipi had picked Spirit Breaker recently. I don't know who he was against. So that would be the only reason I would imagine that they would pick up Spirit Breaker in the first round. That's really what makes the Spirit Breaker pick so unusual, is the getting it so early. It's not a common pick, and usually you want to wait until at least the second round, if not the last pick, to go for any unusual or unorthodox hero picks, just to add to the surprise factor and make sure the enemy team doesn't have a lot of time to adapt to the pick. The reason they pick Spirit Breaker is the Nature's Prophet. Spirit Breaker is
10 seconds
purported to be decent versus the split push lineups, which I can see the logic. With the charge, he's able to close the distance fairly quickly. It's certainly better than many other heroes. I remain dubious of his utility in that regard because of how long it takes him to get into position, and because he's often alone. Unless you've got a Lifestealer to infest, a Wisp for tether, some kind of global presence to join Spirit Breaker, I don't see him being able to stop the split push from Nature's Prophet, especially if there's a Shadow Blade pickup. That means Spirit Breaker, every time he wants to gank, has to buy dust.
10 seconds remaining.
He can buy time for his teammates to get to Nature's Prophet, assuming that he's able to close the distance. But I don't know. We'll have to see. Spirit Breaker is probably one of the strongest gankers in the early game, though. He has the highest base strength. He has really good base armor. I think within the first couple levels, he'll hit 1,000 HP, no trouble. And with all that armor, he can dive towers really easily, and we can probably expect him to pick up a shield on top of that. I'll be very curious to see what kind of build they go for on Spirit Breaker. There's a lot of options. BKB's almost always a necessity in there, but a cool pick nonetheless, and I'm excited to see how it pays off. Lion, a rather uncommon support. Haven't seen a lot of him really in the last year. He gets picked up once in a while. It's not a rare or completely out of the blue option, particularly because Lion really enjoyed a lot of popularity 2 years ago. But then he just kind of fell off because of how level dependent he is. The scaling on his stuns is not particularly fantastic, particularly the Earth Spike. It only starts it as a 1 second stun.
5 seconds remaining.
And it's not that much damage either. It's still good, but
Reserve time.
Given that his other abilities, I mean, the mana drain is really dubious in terms of its laning utility. There aren't many situations in which Lion gets to lane against anyone where he can actually make use of the mana drain. And it's also one of those cases of opportunity cost where every point you put into mana drain could be a point into a stun, and that's not really a trade-off that you want to be making, especially when there's just such a dubious benefit gained from the mana drain. Virtus.Pro gets a Storm Spirit, and I like Storm Spirit versus Spirit Breaker. With good awareness, the Ball Lightning can be used to basically make Spirit Breaker's charge useless, or to further increase the distance that Spirit Breaker is forced to dive or chase Storm Spirit down.
5 seconds.
There's a lot of ways that the Ball Lightning can be put to use against a Spirit Breaker.
Reserve time.
And I mean, looking at Virtus.Pro's lineup so far, it's kind of greedy. Lion is a greedier support than others. He needs his levels, and his utility depends on just getting his basic items up, which can be rather troublesome because of how bad of a farmer he is. You really can't use you can't use the Earth Spike to farm because it's high mana cost, and you know, if at any point you've used it to farm and you've missed out on a kill, then you shall feel deep shame as a support.
Queen of Pain.
Virtus.Pro's turn to
One thing I do like about the support picks on, or at least the support pick on Kaipi, Keeper of the Light works well with Spirit Breaker. Spirit Breaker dives too far, or he ends up having to run away. The recall is there as an option for Keeper of the Light.
Radiant team ban.
That said, he doesn't make use of the mana, and Darkseer, similarly, I mean, he can use it, but he generally picks up a Soul Ring, Bottle, Hex, lots of options for him to keep his mana up. Same thing for Queen of Pain, so I feel like the Chakra Magic, it'll depend on their 5th pick here to be making use of that. Now that I say this, I'm a little questioning of the Keeper of the Light pick. Particularly, he's decent versus Nature's Prophet. He blows through the treants very nicely, but Keeper of the Light is often not in a position to serve as decent anti-push versus Nature's Prophet. He doesn't stop the split push. He does stop the grouped push, but I don't think Virtus.Pro is really going to be making use of Nature's Prophet pushing ability in that way. They're just going to be letting KSI, I assume it'll be KSI on Nature's Prophet. Sometimes they switch it up, but usually it's KSI. KSI will likely be doing a lot of split pushing this game. So, Queen of Pain versus Storm mid. It's a pretty even matchup. Probably slightly favoring Queen of Pain. She's got a somewhat better animation. Her harass is a little more reliable. And Storm Spirit, being a very bottle-reliant mid, suffers a lot from the dagger. Dagger stops you from using your
Radiant team pick.
bottle as long as you're carrying the dot on you, and can be a zoning tool. Can be quite good. And especially if there's early ganks from Spirit Breaker, Queen of Pain's Blink will be very effective at staying on top of whoever Spirit Breaker's target is. And if that's a Storm Spirit, I think Storm Spirit could have trouble if this is a roaming Spirit Breaker early on.
10 seconds.
Virtus.Pro goes for the Earthshaker. Leaves their lanes in an interesting position. They could put Lion and Earthshaker down or up in the safe lane to form a defensive tri-lane with KSI in the off lane. They could also, I mean, it could be, they're on the dire side, so they could do the Earthshaker Ancient pull. That's been growing in how commonly it's used, which it's much to my chagrin. I'm not a big fan of it, but particularly versus an anti-mage, the Ancient pull where Earthshaker will block this off and pull the creeps in the Ancient stack. It's one of the only ways that that an offlaner can deny creeps to the enemy safe lane carry, and versus anti-mage that is quite effective, or is at least something that Kaipi will have to deal with. Ideally, they really should ward to stop it, just because if you can stop it from the beginning, it really can mess with Virtus.Pro's lanes early on. Especially, if you start out with those lanes and then Earthshaker ends up getting nothing for the first 2 minutes because that's what he decided to do. That's a rather great benefit to get from just 150 gold or 200 at worst with the sentries. But running through the lineups, Kaipi on the Radiant side is going to be Eternal on his favorite hero. He loves his anti-mage. He'll be down in the safe lane, joined with pieliedie on Keeper of the Light, and Comewithme on Spirit Breaker. He's picked up his charge first, so he may be looking to use that as early on as possible. And if it does, with Earthshaker down in this bottom lane, this really is suggesting that it's going to be the Ancient pull. So Eternal should have an okay time. He's going to miss out on some creeps if they don't stop the pull, but we'll see what Kaipi does. Over mid, we've got arteezy on Queen of Pain, and Bone7 on Darkseer headed towards the offlane. From Virtus.Pro on the dire side, we've got ars-art on that Lion, illidan on Lifestealer. This is going to be... It's crazy, yes. Tamemywild, also known as Crazy, on Storm Spirit middle. And KSI on Nature's Prophet with NS on Earthshaker.
Double damage.
Question is, will Bone7 be jungling first, or will he go into the offlane? Whatever he chooses to do shouldn't make too much difference. Actually, Comewithme is here middle. He may be thinking about trying to go for this on mid. And with the Ion Shell on Darkseer, it's fairly easy for him to stay on top of his target. There's the dagger. Oh, there's the charge from Comewithme, but there's no Ion Shell. This could be missing out on a lot of damage. Actually, the Illuminate just barely misses. Wow, that was really close for Tamemywild. If either the Illuminate had missed or had hit, or the Ion Shell had been there from Bone7, I'm not sure why they didn't have the Ion Shell. That probably would have been a dead Storm Spirit. So, even still, although it might be some wasted time from Comewithme, this is going to make it really hard for Storm Spirit to get any farm in this lane. And in fact, pieliedie, he's right here. He lands a full channel Illuminate. There's a charge from Comewithme. I don't think Crazy's going to go down. pieliedie actually picks up the last hit there. This is trouble for Storm Spirit. That early death is going to make it very difficult for him to compete against Queen of Pain. If Queen of Pain gets an early advantage, she's a big snowball hero. And an advantage like that can make it difficult, if not impossible, to compete in the lane. Especially with Storm Spirit, he's such a level-dependent mid. He has to get his level 6 in order for him to be survivable, to withstand these ganks. And one gank could lead to more. I mean, looks like Comewithme is just sticking around next to Bone7, getting his levels up. as a result of the creeps from... Oh, there's another charge onto Crazy. He's going to get hit. The dagger's already on. The auto attacks alone are going to be enough, and they've got the Ion Shell this time. arteezy picks up the kill this time. That's 2 deaths for Storm Spirit at 2 minutes into the game. This is big trouble, although there's a teleport in from KSI. Is he going to be able to finish off Come With Me? Yes, he is. 2 auto attacks. KSI manages to find a trade there for Virtus.Pro, but that's not the kind of trade they want to be having. This is a mid versus an offlaner. And I do like this by Virtus.Pro. So they are doing the Ancient Pull, and KSI actually teleports down to help take these Ancients down. On their own, the creeps cannot kill the Ancients, and it's very, very slow levels. But if KSI brings his Treants, that makes it much more viable. And this is a good decision by Eternal.Envy. Getting rid of as much of NS's mana as possible prevents these pulls from going on. And early on, it appears that the Ancient Pulls are effectively slowing... Oh, wow, there's another kill mid on Storm Spirit. Oh, Come With Me drops really low. But wow, this is 3 deaths in the space of 3 minutes for Storm Spirit. That's disastrous. They really depend... Oh, actually, over here, KSI teleports in, a charge from Come With Me, stops him for the time being, but arteezy blinks in. KSI is probably going to go down here. Just one more auto attack from arteezy, and arteezy does pick up that kill. Wow. So KSI tried to pick off Come With Me. He was really low as a result of tanking the tower shots, but ends up feeding another kill to arteezy, and arteezy is almost level 6 at 3.5 minutes into the game. Meanwhile, Crazy, he's sitting at level 3. He's got 6 last hits versus arteezy's 15 and 4. A huge problem. So I gotta keep my eyes on Come With Me. I was not expecting him to go in again quite so soon. But I guess to finish discussing discussing Eternal.Envy, his farm has been slowed down a little bit, given that both he and Illidan have safe lane farm. They should be equivalent. But Eternal.Envy is at 19 and 4 versus Illidan's 25 and 2. NS has finally rotated middle, which I think probably should have happened a little sooner. Earthshaker is a very good rotation support with his Fisher. It's just long range, good stun. It's really useful for keeping your allies out of danger or saving them from any attempted ganks, and it's especially good versus Storm Spirit, or not the Spirit Breaker, even. The build on arteezy is very aggressive early on with 2 Null Talismans. He just wants to... Oh, okay, I heard that I heard the bash, and I was like, oh my god, did I miss it again?
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
So he wants as much early damage as possible, and may potentially see a Dagon rush. Oh, there's a charge in from Come With Me. He's got the Ion Shell. But here's NS. Lands the Fisher. Lands on both arteezy and Come With Me. KSI chooses to cancel his teleport. Although, he's still thinking about it. He perhaps just wants to chase Kaipi out. ars-art also teleported in to rotate, which could be of some cost to him. He's going to miss some pulls over at top. Not the worst thing in the world, but it is, as mentioned, Lion's a very level dependent support, and he needs as much farm as he can possibly get. Crazy really has to be careful versus arteezy. There's still a full 3 level difference here. Actually, there's a charge from Come With Me onto NS. Are they going to dive this tower? That's the question. Eternal.Envy is full of mana. He's got his mana void. Come With Me lands the bash. There's a teleport in from KSI. Is he going to be able to do anything here? Mana void. The Illuminate from pieliedie actually finished him off. KSI, however, is not able to finish off Come With Me. Ends up feeding a kill to Eternal.Envy, and the tower will pick off Come With Me as a result. But that's not a good trade. Giving up a kill and an assist to Eternal.Envy it's bad news bears. And actually, over in mid, looks like arteezy almost finished off Crazy, and he's not going to be able to find a rune. He was hoping that was really his only chance at being able to come back in this lane, and he's forced instead to probably do the Walk of Shame. I don't imagine he'll stick around at 60 HP. Illidan over top, he's gone for a Midas Rush. So he wants to challenge the farm of Eternal.Envy, especially seeing how this game is going. I don't think it's a bad decision. He needs to get as fat as possible. And Midas is pretty much the only tool that Lifestealer can get to to keep his farm as competitive as possible.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
One downside to these pulls from NS, bottom tier 1's taking a lot of damage. Eternal could potentially pick it up here.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Crazy Middle has still not hit level 6. We're at 7 minutes into the game. Very, very late. He's super behind. Still remains 3 levels behind arteezy. Eternal Envy, he's trying to get this bottom tier 1. Wants to make sure that the Fisher from NS won't let NS deny that. And so he does secure the tower. Doesn't get the last hit, but that's okay. I think in that circumstance, oh, there's another charge onto Crazy. Come with me, comes in. There's no chance here for Storm Spirit. Does land the Vortex. Come with me, could go down. Oh, there's a teleport from ars-art. Lands the Earth Spike. So there is a trade of kills here, but arteezy, he's still got plenty of mana for Blink. Uses one Scream. Ars-art's dropping really low, 80 HP. Just one more Scream, and he's going to go down. There's 2 bottle charges on arteezy. He's probably got the mana for this. Bone 7. He does go down to Lion before... Oh, it's a triple kill for arteezy. Finishes off KSI with a Scream. Very favorable trade for Kaipi. They only lose... Well, they lose Come With Me as well as Bone 7. But that's 3 kills going the way of arteezy, and they'll sacrifice Darkseer and Spirit Breaker. No trouble, especially when that's KSI and Crazy going down. Oh, there's another charge onto NS. But Come With Me is alone here. I don't think that he can actually do anything here. There's the Vortex. Do they have the damage necessary? Wow. He's already at 1,000 HP. He's level 6. He's only sitting on a Gauntlet of Strength. So that just shows you exactly how absurdly tanky Spirit Breaker is, just through his stats alone. Eternal Envy's working towards his Battle Fury. He's falling further behind Illidan in terms of last hits, which that's not a huge surprise with the Midas. It makes Lifestealer a very effective jungler, which will allow Illidan to be more involved potentially in the early game. I'll be curious to see what Virtus.Pro decides on that front. If they want to just get Lifestealer as much farm as possible and have him burst out of the jungle at 25 minutes as a wrecking ball, or if they want to get him as involved as possible. Oh, there's another charge onto Crazy. He zips away. There's the Nether Strike finishes him off. arteezy, he eats the Earth Spike as well as the Finger of Death. arteezy, just a few more. Oh, there's a teleport in from KSI, so arteezy will go down for this. Can KSI finish off Come With Me? A couple lucky bashes, and he traps himself inside the Sprout. In fact, he's blocked off with his own Treants. Is he going to be able to get away? Bone 7. No, he's coming in with the Ion Shell. Just, 9 HP! Well, a little bit of nice blocking from the Treants here. They could be in trouble. There's the Fisher. Is there a teleport in? Yes, there is. Crazy, he's come back in, dropping the Remnants down. Bone 7 is going to try and juke. Drops the wall, but he's not going to be able to make it out. Come With Me is able to make it out, just barely. Crazy still has some mana to chase, but I think he's wisely choosing not to. Doesn't want to dive after such a tanky hero such as Storm Spirit, or Spirit Breaker. Man, I'm getting those confused. So it's a good turnaround from Virtus.Pro. Despite giving up yet another death on Crazy, they were able to find some return kills, most importantly on arteezy. And their mid-tier 1 is still up, which is actually pretty important for this game. They need to keep their towers up as long as possible because, there's a charge onto Illidan. We'll see if they go in on this. It would be very hard for them to kill... No, he's actually cancelled his charge, so I was about to say, it would be very difficult for them to kill Illidan. He doesn't have his Infest up, but even without that, he's quite tanky. He's already got his Helm of Iron Will, working towards his armlet as soon as possible. Oh, there's a Fisher onto arteezy. He's taking a lot of damage, but there's the Nether Strike. Very nice juke from Crazy. Able to disjoint the Nether Strike, but there's a charge. Come With Me is not afraid. Perhaps he should be. There was a potential teleport in from KSI, but opts not to go in. Eternal Envy's at 2,300 gold. He's closing in on his Battle Fury. It'll probably be 14, 15 minutes before he has that. Maybe a little bit sooner. Once he has that, Kaipi really just needs to keep Virtus.Pro down in the way that they have been for the next 5 to 10 minutes while Eternal Envy's farm is guaranteed. Oh, there's another jump in onto arteezy. He's actually getting chain stunned to hell. So wow, 11 to 7 at 11 minutes into this game. Quite action packed. Need to watch the minimap a little more. Urn of Shadows picked up on Come With Me. That's a good pickup for Spirit Breaker. He's prone to pick up a lot of kills. It increases his survivability and his killing potential quite nicely. He's not mana dependent, so he doesn't benefit from the mana regen all that much, but...
Double damage.
What's KSI going for? He's going for a mech. He's already built his Midas, so decently farmed at this point. I think the levels in particular are quite good. Actually, level 10 at 12 minutes. That's really quite nice. As is the Earthshaker, level 8 already. That's really good for a support Earthshaker at 12 minutes into the game, which I think that speaks very well of the decision to jointly do the Ancients with the Ancient pulls from NS. Come with me. He's going on Crazy once more, but he's doing this alone. I don't know that he's going to be able to do this. Mid-tier 1's dropping very low. Crazy, he has mana to zip, so I don't know that... Come with me, he's trying to bait out the zip, but oh, very nice. Very nice from KSI. Very poor decision from Come With Me to try and go into that. I mean, he was trying to outplay... Oh, Fisher onto Bone 7. Actually, the Echo Slam is used, and they're going to finish him off no problem. Finger of Death perhaps used a little bit overkill, but they wanted to make sure that they took down Bone 7. That was 2 ultimates used for a Darkseer, but that's probably okay. It's unlikely that they were going to be getting to any fights where they'd be able to use those with much more effectiveness. Smoke up onto 3 here. They may be trying to go on Eternal Envy. And he's just blinked in. This could be trouble. Oh, there's the Fisher, the zip in from Crazy. He's got the Vortex off, the Earth Spike. Make sure that Eternal Envy is not able to get away. ars-art's actually on a killing spree at this point. Very nice for a support Lion. Actually, over at top. Oh, Come With Me has teleported in. Illidan still has his Infest, so he's probably gonna be okay here. The charge is used from Come With Me. He doesn't have his Nether Strike, so he doesn't have Chain Stun. And actually, Illidan's going man mode on pieliedie right now. Can he finish off this kill? Yes, he does. Infest inside the creep. He may make it out of this A-OK. Wow. They're gonna follow him, but I don't know that it's the perfect creep to infest out of. It's not taking any damage. They're not going to be able to deny it. So, great play from Illidan, picking up a kill on support and wasting a lot of time from Kaipi if they're not able to finish him off. And they're going to keep sticking here, but the whole time the Virtus.Pro is down at bottom, working away on this bottom tier 1. There's some response from Kaipi right now, but they really need Come With Me and Bone 7, and I think this is a huge amount of time wasted. He's underneath a tower. Come With Me is going to try and dive, but he pops the Rage. And actually the open wounds onto Come With Me. Nether Strike doesn't deal any damage because of the Rage. One more right click from KSI, and Come With Me goes down. This is the second time that he's dove way too far. He's gotten way too aggressive as Spirit Breaker. It's kind of the classic pub problem. ars-art, he's going to try and blink out, and yes, he will just barely be able to. The vacuum from Bone 7 comes just a second too late. It is a level 1 vacuum, very low range and radius, but perhaps could have used it a bit sooner. So nice teleport out from ars-art. The bottom tier 1 does get taken.
Top tower is under
Yes, it does. And actually, Crazy picks up the last hit there. So, Virtus.Pro really, after looking pretty rough in the early game, they're solidly back in it. Taking a look at the golden XP, actually, yeah, coming back from a 3,500 gold deficit. They're now almost 3,000 ahead, and 7,500 experience, which I have to say must be something to do with the deaths from arteezy and Come With Me. By acquiring that early advantage and then giving it up, I think that's really brought Virtus.Pro back into this game. And this whole time, Illidan has gotten way ahead, and the experience advantage is also told through the Midas, or acquired through the Midas. Illidan has basically had free farm. He's way ahead of Eternal Envy at this point. Eternal Envy, he's just picked up his Battle Fury now, 16 minutes. His early death, his death 2 or 3 minutes ago. Oh no, he just blinks in. He gets caught with the Fisher, the Vortex, gets finished off with the Echo Slam. The Finger of Death used on Come With Me. Illuminate finishes off NS, but Crazy's able to finish off Come With Me, no problem. Can arteezy finish off Crazy here? He's got his Sonic Wave still. It's unlikely. Oh, a nice zip from Crazy. Is he gonna be? He teleports out. Amazing teleport from Crazy. arteezy should be able to finish off ars-art here. Chain Stun. Is he gonna be able to TP out as well? Yes, he is. Amazing play from ars-art. Very easily could have died to arteezy. I'd say a little too much hesitation from Arteezy trying to save his Sonic Wave as long as possible. If he'd used it on either ars-art or Crazy, he would have found at least one kill there. But instead, they're forced to walk away from that fight with 2 deaths. That's Eternal Envy going down just after he picks up his Battle Fury, and only giving up NS for it. One thing I really like about Virtus.Pro's decision making in these fights is they're not hesitating to use their ultimates. NS is not waiting for the perfect Echo Slam to
Warriors of the wood.
to deal the damage in these fights. He's just using it when he knows he can get the damage off, making sure that they acquire these kills. And same thing with the Finger of Death from ars-art. Using it early and often, and ideally, like using it on Come With Me there was pretty excellent. I think Arteezy might have been the only other equally valued target, but Arteezy is also a lot harder to kill. Regardless, really good play from Virtus.Pro there. I really didn't expect Crazy or ars-art to make it out, and so they do. Taking a look at the items here, ars-art, he's doing really nice as a support lion. 18 minutes into the game, mana boots, wand, bracer, and 1200 gold on top of that. I imagine he's going to be going for a blink next. NS, he's got his arcanes, and he's just 2 creep kills away from his blink dagger, and that's going to make him pretty deadly. Illidan, he's finished his armlet, and he's got 3800 gold on top of that. He's going to be a wrecking ball. Nice infest here from Illidan. I don't know if he was aware of the impending charge, but regardless, it's going to let him go straight into the Roche pit. And I really like this because with KSI and Illidan alone, they're going to be able to take Roche down. Does Kaipi have any awareness of this? They're positioned around it. Arteezy's right above the pit, and Illidan, he's going to go straight in. There's the Nether Strike used onto Illidan. Come With Me's dropping so low. Eternal Envy pops the Mana Void onto KSI. NS, he drops really low, pops the Echo Slam on basically nothing. Darkseer wall gets dropped. KSI, he's dropping really low, but does a double damage, finished off with a Scream from Arteezy. Double kill for him so far in this fight. He's almost out of mana. Pops his wand. Is there a Vortex here from Crazy? Yes. Yes, there is. Can they get the damage off? The Finger of Death from ars-art puts him on a dominating streak. Evenly trading in that fight. 2 for 2, but probably favoring Virtus.Pro because they're going to be able to go straight back into that Roche pit, and they didn't take down Illidan. And they gave up Arteezy. Storm Spirit stayed up in the fight. In terms of who died, favors Virtus.Pro. In terms of the positioning on the map, favors Virtus.Pro. So, really good fight for them, and it means that Kaipi can't challenge this Roche now, and that's going to allow continued aggression from Virtus.Pro, which is exactly the opposite of how Kaipi wants to be operating in this game. They pick the Spirit Breaker and want to be exerting map control, want to be as aggressive as possible, because that's the only time that Spirit Breaker is actually useful. And I think we're going to see a really useless Spirit Breaker as this game goes forward. He's now under-leveled, he's under-farmed. Getting some basic items up on Spirit Breaker is really important. Particularly, treads alone offer such a massive increase in utility for Spirit Breaker because of the attack speed increasing the proc rate on bashes, as well as making him tankier. That's pretty good too. But you also ideally want a BKB to ensure his survivability in these fights. As mentioned, Virtus.Pro, they're just taking complete map control. They have full control of the Radiant jungle. Kaipi are grouped up as 4 here up at top, looking to take the top tier 1. But I don't think Virtus.Pro is really all that concerned about it. They have overall more mobility and map control right now. I would like to see a gem picked up when they've got this much of a lead, almost 7,500 gold. About the same in experience. They could do a lot of dewarding right now, and Desolator picked up on Illidan. That's going to be really effective versus Kaipi. There's only one agility hero in Anti-Mage. Come With Me, Darkseer, Bone 7, Arteezy, pieliedie, they're all going to melt to Illidan's auto attacks. It's going to be a dangerous world out there for Kaipi as this goes forward. And really, even Eternal Envy, he's only sitting on 1100 HP if he's on Strength Treads, and high armor or not, he's gonna have a lot of trouble dealing with the damage from really anyone on Virtus.Pro at this point. Force Staff and Mechanism, as well as Medallion. This is a mid-game oriented Prophet, but a very effective Prophet from KSI. Be interested to see what he goes next. I would suspect a Scythe of Ice, since he's going for such a team warrior. Oh, wow. Come With Me gets melted. The Fisher followed up with the Finger of Death. No trouble taking him out. And yeah, there's 2 blinks. No, 1 blink. 1 blink up on Virtus.Pro right now. I thought that ars-art would be going for 1, but it looks like he's actually going to build an Aghanims, which that puts the... I think that puts it at 20-second cooldown. I kind of question the early Aghanims pickup on Lion, because I mean it's only 100 seconds at level 2. It goes down to 40 at level 3, and it's super high mana cost. 650 mana every time you cast it, and I guess it's 420 now. Still, that's a third of his mana pool, and he's not going to be able to keep that up for all that long. In terms of towers, things are looking really nice here for Virtus.Pro. They're about to take down the mid-tier 1. Nothing that Kaipi is able to do to challenge this. That puts a full 3 towers ahead for Virtus.Pro. Oh no, there's an Invis rune here. That said, there was a sentry. Oh! Wow. Echo Slam is used onto 3 from Kaipi, so 1 for 1 in this fight so far. Eternal Envy for NS, that's going to be favoring Virtus.Pro, and Come With Me is going to go down. Kaipi was really hoping to find a fight there, and just no chance. The Echo Slam really, really wisely used from NS. Wow. Bad trades. Bad trades for Kaipi. And 3,500 gold on Eternal Envy right now. I have to question whether if he'd picked up the Ultimate Orb for his Manta style before then, he might have had a chance to blink out. It's tough to say, but you know, you need every little bit you can get, especially when you're this far behind. And I can only assume that he's going for the Manta style next. That's really the only logical choice. Provides the greatest amount of survivability and as well as damage output for your second item. Arteezy's had a BKB for a little while. He's sitting on 2,000 gold. I imagine he'll be going for a Sheepstick next. He could also go for something like a Lincoln Sphere if he really desperately wants to be survivable. Dagon is no longer an option because they've fallen behind, and there's not going to be any easy pickoffs at this point in the game. Dagon's a really good choice if you're way far ahead, and yeah, he's gone for the Ultimate Orb, so it looks to be a Scythe of Ice. Could go for the Aghanims, but I don't think that's going to be all that effective versus VP. It's good for pushing out lanes, but Virtus.Pro is going to be pushing by winning team fights. They don't have to siege. They don't have to do any kind of slow or split pushes. That is an option for them, but they certainly aren't reliant on it. With his 5 early deaths, Crazy is rather behind on his farm. He's working towards his Scythe of Ice. Once he gets that, he'll start being relevant. Although really, he's actually been quite relevant in a lot of these fights. His Vortex has been the difference between taking Eternal Envy down a number of times. Oh, Come With Me. He gets caught by illidan. Just a handful of auto attacks, and illidan is able to take him out. KSI actually finishes the last hit there. There's the gem picked up on NS, so the whole map has basically been dewarded by Virtus.Pro. Kaipi's sitting in the dark here, and Virtus.Pro never got a chance to make use of the Aegis, but that's really okay. Actually, up the top, Crazy goes down to the Mana Void from Eternal Envy, so a nice pick off there for Kaipi. It's not going to stop the push from Virtus.Pro, especially with the AC picked up on illidan. He's going to tear through this tower. That's minus 12 armor total that they're looking at. That's deadly indeed.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Eternal Envy will find a trade up on top, which is very nice for them. There's a charge onto ars-art. He gets Force Staffed away. It's going to force Come With Me to dive a little bit more for this fight. And the Echo Slam is up. BKB popped on arteezy. Really nice positioning from NS, slowing down the support from Kaipi, making sure that arteezy is not able to take out ars-art as quickly as he likes. Eternal Envy Hour, he's able to pick up ars-art. It's nonetheless a 2-for-2 trade. Come With Me and arteezy traded for ars-art and NS, that's still a favorable trade for Virtus.Pro. And I think in large part due to the blink from NS, correctly predicting the charge from Come With Me and recognizing that arteezy would be able to blink in first. And perhaps, I think he actually in fact waited after the blink from arteezy to blink backwards to make sure that he could separate out Kaipi from the rest of their team. Otherwise, it might have been a really good fight for Kaipi. So NS is balling on Earthshaker this game, I have to say. Just really great positioning, and he's using his Echo Slam basically every time it's off cooldown. He's not waiting for the perfect Echo Slam or what have you. He's creating opportunities with good blinks and fissures. It's really mildly unfortunate that Crazy goes down there, but because of like he's already so far behind, he's not the critical piece for Virtus.Pro in these fights. Pretty much everybody on Virtus.Pro is pulling their weight, and you can take out the Storm Spirit, but he's basically functioning as an initiation tool and as another form of disable right now, who just happens to scale decently and will become more relevant later on. ars-art's finished his... Oh my god. That doesn't... Oh man, I want to know how much it decreases the mana cost. That's too bad. I forgot that it still did that. So the Aghanims is finished on ars-art. Means that ultimate is always going to be available, and particularly as his mana regen increases, he's going to have that for multiple times during individual fights. It's going to be pretty fearsome. There's an Invis rune on Eternal Envy. He can probably pick up this Courier if he so chooses, which I really think he should. It's dangerous positioning for him, which is why he's not going on it. Actually, this could be a really good decision making by him. Oh, never mind. I think I thought for a second that he was waiting. He waited too long. That's unfortunate. That could have been gold for his entire team if he'd picked it off sooner. I thought for a second that he was going to be waiting for it to go to the secret shop, and then he kills it, and then there's a full item sitting on it for the rest of his team. But instead, doesn't get the kill at all. Shadowblade picked up on pieliedie. I've seen this a couple times now. I don't agree with it. Does increase his survivability a little bit, but you could have so many items that would be really valuable for your team. A pipe, probably at the top of that list, dealing with all the magic damage from Virtus.Pro. I mean, Earthshaker, Storm Spirit, Lion. That's all magic damage that your pipe could be preventing. So I don't agree with that pickup. BKB picked up on Bone 7. I also don't know about that decision either. I like BKB on Darkseer if you have more items, if you've got something like a Blink, if you have a Sheepstick. A BKB can be really critical for ensuring that you bring out your full utility in a fight. Roshan very quickly finished by Virtus.Pro, and actually the Aegis put onto... Yeah, because illidan is item locked at this point, he can only get rid of the Hand of Midas and the Phase Boots at this point. So the Aegis up on Crazy, and since he's got his Scythe of Vice now, that's really going to be quite valuable. Yeah, just to finish talking about the BKB, he doesn't have enough to warrant that pickup in my mind. I think waiting on it, getting a Blink Dagger would be a better choice. Oh, there's a zip in from Crazy on to Come With Me, chasing him back, but not finishing off the initiation. Kaipi has to fight here. The fortification is down. illidan is ripping through these barracks. Holy shit. And Bone 7, he could get 3-shotted. Wow. Dominated by illidan, finished off by Crazy. KP just seems like they can't fight this. illidan, he's so deadly right now. There's just... How can Kaipi fight this? I mean, Virtus.Pro doesn't even have to have the perfect fight. They're not using any of their stuns or any of their ultimates right now, and Kaipi is just not able to fight. Oh, there's a zip in from Crazy. He's infested by illidan right now. Come With Me just gets mutilated by illidan. And there's also a crit on him, forgot to mention that. His damage is absurd. I don't know what Kaipi's going to be able to do about this. Look at the lead here. Oh, nice Mana Void from Eternal Envy. Ends up dealing a lot of damage to illidan, but it's not going to stop them. I mean, Crazy still has his Aegis, which he has yet to use. All the ultimates are still up. I think, oh, there's the Hex used on Eternal Envy. Echo Slam only lands on Eternal Envy. That's really okay. BKB popped on Bone 7, but look, he's not doing anything. arteezy, he goes down, but instantly buys back. Is he going to be able to make any utility out of his buyback? Shadowblade used to save pieliedie's own skin. Illidan, he's Armontogging to save his own life, but not able to do enough. Oh, there's the Finger of Death used to finish off Come With Me, and Crazy picks up a double kill. GG called from Kaipi at 32 minutes into the game, 20-30. Ends up being a 25,000 gold lead, a 25,000 experience lead. Wow, Virtus.Pro really came back from that in amazing fashion. I really thought it was going to be trouble for Virtus.Pro when Crazy went down 4 times in a row. But because Virtus.Pro was getting so much more from the rest of their lanes, they got good levels on KSI and NS through that group jungling of the Ancients. I really like that decision making. I have to say that's the first time that I can legitimately say I approve of the Ancient pull with Earthshaker, because they had someone there to help him out, and it wasn't just another support. It was someone who could help tank the Ancients, and that ended up being really effective and getting the early levels necessary on Earthshaker to get his Echo Slam, which made a big difference in some of those early engagements. And more importantly, that freed up the top lane for ars-art to get his experience and get his level 6, and we saw a lot of Finger of Death in that game put to really great use. And because the top lane was completely unchallenged, Illidan had total free farm, and Eternal Envy, by comparison, as a result of the Ancient pulls and getting ganked, did not have comparable farm, and Anti-Mage in any case does not carry as soon, it does not such a mid-game carry as Lifestealer, and Illidan was 6 slotted at 30 minutes because of his item selection, which I think was also a big factor there.